who's gathered here today. Thank you for being here on a Saturday in all the crazy Bangalore traffic. Um, we are the team from Center for Revival of Indigenous Art. We are the team behind the book Divara Chittara, the art form, the people, their culture. And to set context to our entire book, thank you so much. To set context to this entire project, we would like to start our session with a short video, and then we will get into the session.
ಚಿತ್ತಾರ ಬಾರಿ ಎಂದರೋ ಮಂದರ ಬಾರೋದಾಳೆಯ ವಾಲಗು ತನ ಗಂಡನು ಬಾರೋದಾಳೆಯ ಶೋಭಾನಾವೆ.
So this book that we've created is actually a labor of love over the past 2.5 to 3 years. And it is a 200-page coffee table book. It is, would you hold it up, please? It's a 200-page coffee table book, the first of its kind on Karnataka's very own Chittara art form. And it documents Chittara through the lens of the Divaru community, which is one of the most refined practitioners of this art form. And we are very, very proud to say that it highlights voices of artists who've not got their due, who've not got the limelight. And so let's, I think, get into the session. And let's hear from Geetha Bhat, founder of Center for Revival of Indigenous Art, on why this book is so relevant and important, and why we really did this whole project.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Bangalore Literature Festival, for this opportunity. As you all saw, you got a glimpse of this rich culture, the tradition, the unique art form, which you can also have a look at it if you later. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So I've been working with this for more than 20 and odd years, and absolutely there's nothing on this. There's a dearth of information. It's not been archived. It's not been documented. A lot of things have gone, and the way they connect with nature, the deep rootedness with the nature, the water worshippers, and apart from this, there are rich folk songs, folk dances, and their eco-friendly products. So all this is going away. So there was a dire need to bring out and document this and archive this. So that's why the book Divara Chittara, the art form, the people, and their culture. And to just give how they have also taken from nature most of their symbols. It has a meaning, it's a connection, and also from architecture. And just to give you a very small example, I don't know if you can all see this. So there is a plant called kaulimatti, and it has thorns, and it has a beautiful berries. The berries is used for the fish gravy, which enhances the taste. So they have created from that to kaulimatti, just white. So that kind of, so like that, you can see this also architecture, how they have taken it from it, columns and how they fill it up, and so there was a dire need for this, and that's how the book is. And now Smitha will tell you more about it.
Hello, everyone. So I'd like to take you all through how this book is organized and structured to give a sense of, how we are presenting the art form. So like you saw in the video, Chittara art form paintings, whether they are done on the walls or on baskets, essentially it's about storytelling, right? So like Geetha pointed out, to every element of the Divaru community's lifestyle, their culture, their rootedness to nature, everything is reflected in their Chittara paintings. So there is a very deep connection between the paintings and people's lives. And we wanted to, through this book, right, we wanted to give a sense of this interconnection between the art and their life, because folk art is essentially that, right? Folk art is like, a lot of art inspiration comes from people's lives and their daily lives. So this, Kaulimatti was an example. Every aspect, you can actually, this book explores various aspects like that. And we wanted to make sure that it was not a mere academic exercise. It was not meant only for research people. We wanted to, cater to a wide range of audiences who don't look at it only as a research book or an art, as a mere coffee table book, but also appeal to people so that we can relate to it as well. So the way we structured, we wanted to reflect the visual richness of both the art form and the culture. I'm sure if you're, if you're aware of Malenadu, where this art form is practiced, Malenadu culture is so beautiful, from their, rituals to their festivals, and even the place is so vibrant, and that is something we wanted to bring out. So if you look at the chapters, it starts with something called the Badukina Chaukattu. It's an English book, but we wanted to make sure that people who read it are able to get a flavor of Malenadu region, and it should reflect the voices and language of the artists themselves. So we've taken pains to include that. So our chapters are titled like that. So Badukina Chaukattu translates to framework of life. So that talks about the Hasegode Chittara, which you see here. It's one of the most important Chittaras. And it's not just the only one. There are several paintings, several Chittara paintings. I think 70 plus motifs. I think 80 motifs, close to 80 motifs we kind of, during the course of our research, we actually documented, saw that. So instead of presenting it as, okay, set of chittaras, then talk about motifs, and then talk about rituals, we felt that it has to take the reader through a journey of the lives. So it starts with Badukina Chaukattu. Badukina Chaukattu means framework of life. This chittara painting exclusively talks about family as a social unit. And it conveys, there's a meaning behind every fill that you see. Every single line that is there carries a meaning, okay? It talks about family as a social unit and within what framework it should operate in a society. It talks about architecture, it talks about home, it talks about, so many things. So we felt that essentially is the starting point for, introducing Chittara. Of course, we talk about the process and all that, but the next chapter, like Geetha was pointing out, the Devaru are a nature, they are a water worshipper, a water worshipping community. For them, water is very essential. So we felt that when we introduce this aspect, we bring in related Chittara. So very interestingly, in Devaru homes, the prayer altar is nothing but 2 pots of water. Okay, 2 pots. One is a big pot filled with water. One is a smaller pot filled with water. There is a reason why there is one big pot and small pot. Any guesses? Why should there be one big pot and one small pot of water? Okay, for paucity of time, I'm going to say it. The larger pot represents the female ancestor and the smaller pot represents the male ancestors. So they worship, water is their main prayer altar, and there is a Chittara painting that is done behind the water, as part of the prayer altar. So that becomes a chapter in itself, their water worship. Then we have this Bhumitaya Simanta. People are actually, they are celebrating the fullness of Mother Earth. Right? So when the fields are lush, this is an agrarian community, when the fields are lush, they actually celebrate the fullness through Chittara paintings. That's what you see on the basket. It tells the story of their lifestyle. It has motifs that come from their agricultural, all their tools, whatever you see, their hard work, their labor, everything, the butti becomes a canvas for their expression of their lives. So going on, there is gratitude again, which is gratitude to all the cattle, the livestock that are there, that play an important part in their lives. Again, all the Chittaras associated with that aspect come into the next chapter called the Dodda Habbada Sambrama, because during Dodda Habba, which is Deepavali festival, it's a time for gratitude to cattle in Malnadu. So people celebrate their cattle. They draw Chittara designs which are derived from cattle. Like the feet of their Basavana Pada becomes a Chittara. So, and once the harvest is done, like Samruddha Suggi, it's a time for celebration, because there are a lot of harvest-related motifs that become part of Chittara. So that is another way of introducing that aspect of Chittara into lifestyle. So, and in all this, we felt that the voices of the artists, through their songs, through their opinions, anecdotes, their riddles, proverbs should all be reflected in the book, in some form. So we've tried to document those as well, because like Geetha was pointing out, those are fading away. There are very few people who remember those songs. It's not documented anywhere, so there's more work out there. But we have also incorporated all that into our book. To give a small, quick example, we have this, there is a tattoo that you must have seen in the beginning. It actually represents a tattoo of a plant, Shivana Jade. They call it Jogi Jade or Shivana Jade. It appears not just on the body, it appears in Chittara as well, on the basket. And there are proverbs, there are songs associated with that, which we've captured in our book. So I won't take any more time. The book ends with Chittara the Pragati, which talks about the way forward for Chittara, for a lovely art form like this. What is the way forward? How does, what does it mean for Chittara, for the future of Chittara? So I'll pass it on to Namrata, who worked on the design, and I think you can talk about how what was your approach to the design of this book?
So thanks, Smitha. That was a very quick recap of 3 years of, that went fleeting by. So when we had gone and finished our field work and, come back, we had a humongous repository of information, of photographs, of videos, songs, like she was saying, dance performances. And to make sense of it all, for me as a designer, it was very overwhelming, because we knew this book would be 200 pages. So how do we really condense all that richness into those 200 pages and into these 6 chapters, right? Just getting to that point took us 2-3 months of a lot of intense brainstorming and looking at all the pictures. We did these photo dumps for each of the chapters, and each of those photo dumps had about 1,500 to 2,000 images per chapter, at least, at the very least. And so you can imagine now our book has about, 200? More than 200 photographs now. So coming down from a couple of thousand per chapter to 200 in the whole book. And then which pictures to give, a full page to, which pictures to give, a smaller presence to. All of those decisions, even to come to that, took us the first 2-3 months once we actually started working on the book. And parallelly, they are also co-authors. Smitha's also done the photography. So, we were working on the visual narrative while they worked on the writing. And finally, once we got to a point where we kind of knew, what the text would be like, we then again had to work on kind of condensing the text in certain places, because I started working on, basic layouts, and things were not fitting in. I would have to remove pictures if this much more text had to come in. So which songs do we remove? Which anecdotes do we remove? It was heartbreaking, because we've been part of every one of those, every bit of it was part of our journey. So finally, when we really went down to it, cut down the text, came into the final layouting, the challenge there was no two pages could look the same. I couldn't create a standard set of layouts which would work for everything. Again, because every single page in our book, for anybody that has looked through it already, no two pages look the same. No two pages have the same kind of information. There would be a song, there would be pictures, there would be need for illustrations. So many things had to happen. And then to put a two-page spread which made sense at every point, right? So if a reader is flipping from one page to the other, how does that information flow, right? So to get all of that together, I think just having an amazing, amazing team really brought everything together.
Namrata, talk about how you incorporated Chittara itself into the book.
Yes, I'm coming to that. So all of this was I'm so overwhelmed to even, how to answer this question, because it took a lot of this back and forth even before I got into, okay, let's see how to bring in the motifs, right? Because like she said, we didn't want it to become too academic, where we just list out the motifs, list out the festivals, list out their, attire and their lifestyle and all of that. But we wanted it to be more like, as you go through the book, you're discovering the visual language of Chittara the way that we discovered it, right? So there are certain generic motifs, like the patanga or the butterfly. So you'll see the patanga coming across throughout the book, because it's a beautiful, playful motif, and it's a symbol for all the little bugs and critters and insects that, are hanging around the homes and the fields. And then you also have the chenduhu, which is the marigold flower, again, which is a very generic motif. It's used to denote celebration, positivity, so many things. So again, that pops in and out of the book in different places. Then we have more specific motifs, like your gombe salu, which symbolizes children. You have motifs for bullock carts, motifs for your tools and implements, which, like she was talking about, the Yattin Puja or the cattle puja. So when we came into that chapter, we put in those motifs there to really tie together the context of what this chapter talks about. And each of our chapter titles, again, is one specific Chittara motif. Like for the Yattin Puja, we have the foot, the Basavana Pada, or the foot of the cattle, which again is not represented the way you would probably have seen it in other art forms. It's a very unique representation. So in this way, we use the motifs to contextualize, what part of Divaru culture, what part of Chittara's visual language do we want you to learn about in this part of the book. And going that way, we managed to incorporate, I think, almost 80 plus motifs in the book. And our first chapter actually was the most challenging that way. Actually, 8 pages. So 4 spreads of the first chapter itself took us about 3 weeks of intense arguments about what should be there, what shouldn't be there. And it was quite exciting, because the first chapter actually just breaks down that Badukina Chaukattu, what you see there, which is the most important, the framework of Chittara kind of falls in the hands of the Hasegode Chittara and the Badukina Chaukattu. So the first chapter just talking about that, and all of those pages kind of filling them with just deconstructing that one Chittara took us a really, really long time. And the way in which we did that, with a combination of already beautiful photographs that Smitha had taken, the motifs were meant to more kind of fill in and complement what the visual narrative already was doing. Then we threw in some songs in between. The text was there in just the right amounts to keep guiding you from the first page till the last page, to keep the context going. But most of it is coming in through illustrations and visuals. So it was a real challenge, but I think we managed to finally do it. And
So I think we will take a pause here. We could go on and on. We never know to stop because there's so much to talk about, both Chittara and the book. But we'd like to throw it open to the house for any questions, any queries. Feel free to ask. Geetha, for the upliftment of Devaru artists, what is Sifriya doing?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are doing quite a lot of public in Chittara in public spaces. We get the artists from the villages. That is one, and then we are also trying to bring out their eco-friendly products. No, we didn't bring. So we are trying to also, how it can be adapted without much compromise. And of course, Namrata, she designs. For example, last year Bangalore Habba, they had Gode as a theme. So we have done based on Chittara, contemporize a little bit, not to compromise, but we have done the murals on Science Gallery, and we have also done at
Workshops.
ಒಂದು ಕೋಆಪರೇಟಿವ್ ಸೊಸೈಟಿ ಥರ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಅವರ ಆರ್ಟನ್ನು ಸೇಲ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಬೇಕಾದಂಥ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆಗಳನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದರಿಂದ ಅವರ ಲೈಫ್ ಸ್ಟೈಲ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವರ ಬದುಕಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಆಗುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಆ ಥರದ್ದು ಏನಾದರೂ ನೀವು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ಅಂತ?
ಮೇಲೆ ಆ ಥರ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಂತ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಈ ಪುಸ್ತಕನ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಬ್ರಿಜ್ ವರ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾಗರ ಮತ್ತು ಶಿವಮೊಗ್ಗ ಕಡೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೋಗಿ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಅವರನ್ನು ಟ್ರೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಆನ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟ್ರೈನಿಂಗ್, ನಾಟ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್ಸ್ ಡೂ ಚಿತ್ತಾರ ಮತ್ತು ಆ ಥರ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅವರದ್ದು ನೀವು ಹೇಳ್ದಂಗೆ ಆ ಥರ ಇದು ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟು ಸೆಲ್ಫ್ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಥರ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದನ್ನು ಈಚುಲ್ ಶಾಪೆ ಅಂತ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಅದನ್ನು ಇವರು ಡಿಸೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದನ್ನು ಬ್ಯಾಗ್ಸು ಬೇರೆ ಏನಾದರೂ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಟ್ರೈಯಿಂಗ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ. ಸೊ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್.
And I should just add, before we came up with the book, hardly anybody knew Chittara. There was no funding either for the programs that Sifriya wanted to do or So once the book came out, it actually kind of it propelled the cause of Chittara. So we were able to bring in artists, have a lot of these panel discussions with artists. Every program of ours, the artists have come, demonstrated Chittara. They have done workshops for everybody. So I think that synergy happened only after the book. And honestly, till then, more after the book. Till then, Geetha Bhat was doing it. You should have seen the murals in IME, Indian Music Experience. But unfortunately, folk art needs that propelling.
Because most of the cases, ಎಲ್ಲ ಈ ಬುಕ್ ತರುವಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೆ ನಿಲ್ಲುತ್ತೆ, ಮುಂದೆ ಹೋಗೋದೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಆ ಆರ್ಟಿಸ್ಟ್ಗಳು ಹಂಗೆ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ.
The book is the starting point for us.
ಆ ಲೈಫ್ ಅವರ ಬಡತನ ಎಲ್ಲನೂ ಹಂಗೆ ಇರ್ತದೆ.
ಇಲ್ಲ, ನಮ್ದು ಮುಂದೆ ಹೋಗೋ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಇದೆ, ಅದೇ
ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ವಾಟ್ ಆರ್ ದಿ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ಸ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಹ್ಯಾವಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ಯುವರ್ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದೆ.
Exactly, sir. So to add to that, for the last 20 years, Center for Revival of Indigenous Art has been working to revive Chittara, and this has been Geetha's dream ever since she started this journey more than 20 years ago, to bring out this book saying this will really amplify the voices of these artists who have not got their due. There are folk artists who have got the limelight, who are doing well, but there are artists who are so talented, nobody has even dared to bother, they're in some village somewhere, no one has discovered them. So that is the purpose of this book. All such voices have come out, and the opportunities even to do more murals, to do more workshops. We are continuously looking for more opportunities for them. This is all for them. This is not for us. This is all for the artists and for the art. So yeah.
Yeah. Indigenous? Yeah. So I think first, I'll just talk about myself. Like, as a documentary photographer, I think keeping aside our opinions, perspectives, it's important to listen to the artists. So whatever we've used and written, we've actually quoted the artists. It is what they have told us. Something might look a certain way, but it's them. I may or may not agree with this concept of the family, child, and all that, but it's not my art to talk about. It is the artist, it is the community's art, it is their thing that has to come. So we've been careful in actually making sure that our biases, our perspectives don't enter into this.
What was your research process in deciding what sort of aspects to focus on, and how did you what was your research process for finding out what sort of aspects you want to focus on?
So research process. So first is Geetha Bhat has worked. She has guided quite a few research papers and all that. But again, very little. I mean, we knew there were certain symbols, but they have to exist now, right, in the field when you go to villages. So it was a lot of, I think in that sense, that visual documentation really helped, because we would take photographs, come back, analyze those photos, see, make a list. Okay, we have got this symbol, and we would come across some new symbol and say, oh, we don't know the name of this. What is this? Go back, check, recheck with the artist. Not one artist, multiple, because there is variation, right? Regional variation, artist to artist, there is variation. They would use the symbol, but the name may be different. So we went back again and again to check whether what they said, what we have understood, is it correct, visually. That's where the photo documentation actually came into, a lot of use. And Geetha Bhat also had archival pictures, old Chittara paintings which don't exist anymore. Somebody called from Sagara saying, we were breaking down the house. We got it from an artist, senior artist. There is a wall with a 25-year-old Chittara. Do you want to come and take a picture? Immediately, we went and got that picture. It's there in the book, because you won't get to see these anymore. Another 5-10 years, if we don't push for Chittara, you won't get to see. Not in the beautiful form that Geetha Bhat has seen. We've seen it in a very different form.
I think we're out of time, but thank you so much for joining us and hearing what we have to say. You can check out our book. It's available for purchase if anybody would like to pick it up. We'll be around if anybody would like to come and meet us and know more about our process. Thank you so much, Bangalore Lit Fest, for this opportunity.
If anybody wants to know more about the painting or about this basket, we are there. You can just come and have a look and ask any questions. Thank you all so much. And thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Geetha, Namrata, and Smitha. Do look up Sifria on the web.